So you're saying that we can't touch peepees?
No, we're definitely not Spartans. Yeah.
But I feel inspired enough where I am a Spartan.
I don't see abs. Sorry.
So who says I have to have abs?
Considering the 300 Spartans had at least 1,800 abs, I would be willing to bet that that's a requirement.
I don't know. I think you just have to yell and kill, and I can do both.
Okay, sure, bud.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
So, we are not joined by Jacob this week. Hasn't really been responding to any of our messages. Not sure what's going on with that. So he left last week. We knew about that, like, ahead of time. And he just kind of dropped off the face of the planet. So, we're getting mildly concerned.
The last text I did get from him were dick and balls. And an address. And I'm a little scared to see where the address leads me.
Yeah, but it's across the country, so it takes
too
much effort.
I don't know what he's trying to tell us, but...
Nah, he'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll be fine. He's just getting his face out on.
Who? Unlikely.
Want to just yeet into the news?
Well, first...
While we wear our Spartan attire?
Our Spartan attire, I am in my little Diaper Man diapers with my red keepy keep as my blanky blanky. Into the news, Sony/Marvel Studios released the first teaser for Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, talk about fan service.
They love me.
I'm less opposed to it than I was before. Not by much, but I am trying really hard to be optimistic.
I think with the theories that have been thrown around on Twitter, like the one you shared with me, I think if that theory were to be utilized and like used, and if that's like close to the plan of what's going on, I think everything would make more sense.
Which one would that be? I shared a lot of stuff.
You only shared one with me. It was the one about how this is supposed to erase everyone's memory, so that Spider-Man, like even like his connection to Stark Industries, so he has to like fend for himself.
I have nothing left except Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which I hope is the truth, because then I can finally relate to a young superhero boy who's broke and can barely feed himself.
Yes. It's something that gives me really conflicting feelings, because on one hand, I'm going, dude, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, I want it.
Badass.
But also, then parts of my brain are going, I would really like just Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things, and I am already exhausted with multiverse stuff, to be honest. There's no getting around that. Because it's been I think mostly because of what's been going on with COVID, is because it's both film universes are really leaning into it right now. I mean, they've been talking it up for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, the comics do this all the time, and it's not, oh, it's mainstream now, I don't like it. It's just like, now it's just the only thing anyone talks about, and it's like, holy crap, it does undercut a lot of the more interpersonal drama stuff. Yeah. Which I understand if that's not what you're like looking for in whether it's your Spider-Man or anything else, like I get that. It's just, I don't know. But trailer-wise, something I have to notate is, visually speaking, it looked a lot better in terms of like cinematography and color grading. Yes. That's a big thing for me, and that one does look nice. Mm-hmm. So we have the beginning bits of like him being like on the run and like kind of in hiding and stuff. That stuff looks really good and seemingly taking itself seriously, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, it's not just like some it's just it's not really him. Like, we come to the next movie, like we're all stressed out waiting for the next Spider-Man movie to come out, and it's just like it got solved.
Yeah, the fact that it's picking up literally in the same moment as where the last movie left off is good. It's just the balls of them going, we're gonna try to do Spider-Verse and One More Day, which is like the most universally hated Spider-Man arc, and like try to do it better.
One More Day.
That's where he traded his...
Oh, yep.
Yeah, to save Aunt May, he traded his life with Mary Jane to Mephisto, and...
Mephisto confirmed!
gonna cry?
To be fair, I think there is potential here. Partially just because of the clear influences, but something that the entire internet noticed, so it's not really fun to talk about anymore, is Doctor Strange was acting a little funny. Like, you could just go, he's being written slightly differently, because Doctor Strange Stephen Strange is an arrogant dickhead who just kind of does what he wants. But over basically Infinity War and Endgame, it was demonstrated that like he does have a much higher maturity level than he did when he started in his own movie.
Yep.
So it feels a little bit like, we're gonna do the spell behind Wong's back. It's like, would he really do that? Something that would have such wide-reaching consequences. You can easily pull it off and just go, he's just kind of being dumb or whatever. He's trying to like be like the fun uncle or whatever. But yeah. There might be some merit to some shenanigans going on there.
I think it feels like he's just trying to see if he can even do it.
You might be onto something there.
I think it's just more like, let's see if I can. I feel like I can, so let's see if I can. Because, like, even though some people can be the most, like, mature and, like, responsible people, there's that, if they get the question, am I able to do it? Yeah. I just want to do it to prove that I can.
Yeah, I definitely get that. It's just, I like what seems to be implied. What I think they're going to end up doing is some shenanigans ensue that, crack open the multiverse, blah, blah, blah. Bad guys, good guys, fan service.
Pizza time.
Give me pictures of Spider-Man!
You know, I'm something of a
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
myself.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
And then ultimately it's going to end up with, we can figure out how to do this correctly, but it's going to wipe everything. Like, wholesale, you will just be Spider-Man on your own. No one will remember your secret identity, including your friends and family. Because, like, he's trying to, like, make exceptions to the rule. He's like, everyone. Wait, no, not everyone. Not
he could literally just tell them again.
Right. And I think that's the point, is because Strange literally says, all of these consequences from living to lives type deal. That's like the epitome of Spider-Man is Spider-Man fucks up Peter Parker's life and Peter Parker ends up caving all the time, essentially. Not because Spider-Man is a burden, but because he will almost always put his duty above his personal life, which is...
Because he is
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man. He cares about other people more than he does himself.
Right.
But in doing that, it looks like he doesn't care about his family or people he loves, but it's literally just like,
always
I'm trying to save people.
Exactly. And I think that there's also some sad photos and whatever that look like he might be trying to like rekindle a relationship with MJ, and it also gives them the opportunity to rework his relationships, because I think because at least in the comics, Spider-Man's group of friends change when he goes through different periods of life. Like unlike just the Raimi movies, for instance, he had the same friends essentially in high school into college years, versus what happened originally in like the Stan Lee era of the comics was he had his high school friends, and then he went to college and he has college friends, and then he was an adult and then he has adult friends, and then over time they get moved around and whatever. But like it's segmented, and I think that was one of the things that I do really like about that, and that's something that was worked, I think.
It feels relatable.
Right, it's like stuff happens, you cling on to some parts of it, but I think they might be trying to do that, and like, we're gonna use these characters again, and we're gonna potentially work around some of the critiques people have of whether it be Ned being kind of obnoxious. I don't find him obnoxious, but I do
I like Ned.
I like Ned, but I do understand why some people are like, okay, it's a little much sometimes, or people having critiques of MJ, which I'm not really down on those. I understand why people are like, okay, it's not exactly like the comics or whatever, but...
Who cares? That's not the point of this.
Right. It's more so that Mary Jane, more so than her specific personality, from my understanding, is like, it's not because, she is sassy and independent and a mild party girl, but like responsibly, and she's a model and stuff. It's more so she's kind of contrarian. Like in how she participates with the friend group. She's the one who kind of pulls people to do stuff they might not do normally. And I think that works well with the way they've portrayed her so far, of her being like far more socially conscious and being kind of like weird. I like it. I get why people are like nostalgia, being like, I don't like it. But if they want to smush them a little closer together, you can work with that.
I think that would work.
And he has to restart all of his relationships over again. And, Aunt May doesn't know about Spider-Man and whatever. And, like, it gives you a lot of potential. And then it makes all of the...
I think that works. I think that was maybe a really good build-up. Maybe they thought about this beforehand.
Doubt. I do have to say,
yeah.
that is strong doubt. This is 100% because of the renegotiations with Marvel and Sony, and they went, how do we make the most shit ton of money out of this?
Friend.
Sure. But, like, let's just play into this just for fuck's sake. So, like, it started when in Homecoming. Literally at the end, it's like, Aunt May randomly just sees that he's Spider-Man. Okay.
That was a great ending.
And then,
dude,
it's
Homecoming is... I know it's
oh
sounds
my
dumb.
fuck.
Homecoming is the second best Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
I will not
have
this further.
We're not going to have this conversation.
Banger of a movie, though.
Yeah, okay. Back to what I was fucking saying, you... Back to what I was saying, you fuck. Oh, his whole life just kind of slowly went into, like, I have no control over who knows who I am anymore. That's what the whole theme of, like, this Spider-Man was. First, it's, Tony Stark, a billionaire, figured out who I was. And then it goes, shit, my aunt knows who, or Ned knows who I am. Shit, Aunt May knows who I am. Shit, MJ knows who I am. Shit, the whole world knows who I am.
Yeah,
you can say that they probably didn't plan this, but they definitely left something in there, like, it was probably an idea where it's like, we can come back to that if we want to do that, and it seemed like they went into that.
Yeah, I think that was somewhat of an inevitability, not in terms of the Spider-Man movies, but more so him being pulled into the Infinity Saga stuff of, like, all the superheroes know who you are.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man, then.
Every single one of them knows who he is.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is because we very rarely work from, like, a civilian perspective in these movies. We're always with the heroes in the hero world. So it's like, everyone knows who he is. Like, what's the point of having secret identities? In the MCU, basically nobody has a secret identity. And Spider-Man, his secret identity is stupidly key to how he, like, works. That as a character. You remove that, it's stupid. The comics did that for a couple of times, and it was horrible. So I think it was kind of an inevitable consequence of, like, okay, the superheroes are going to know. Well, there's always drama with, like, his friends and family finding out. But then they don't actually, after Homecoming, in my opinion, I don't think that they used that for a lot of drama. I think the reveal with MJ was done fairly well in Far From Home. But the rest of it's, like, that just, oh, shit, no! Moving on. Like, there's no consequence to it. It's built up, and that's like, it's fine. Like, even between Homecoming and No Way Home, Far From Home, it's like, crap, Aunt May knows. And then the next movie, Aunt May's just, like, vibing with him. Yeah. There's no drama. There's no consequence. There probably was stuff that happened, but we don't know about it.
We don't really need to. I mean, we could.
I think that's ignoring the consequences of your previous movies.
That's true.
You can use that, like, as a storytelling device of, like, we'll follow up on this later.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad that
we'll do
that we
flashback right.
Like, in this new movie, we're actually following up on the consequences
Hopefully.
rather than, hey, I'm a Skrull!
Yeah, for sure. I think getting into the individual specifics of how the multiverse stuff is going to work is going to derail. We can go on about that for ages because it looks like there's so many different things. That's kind of we really just have to wait and see because they look to be hinting at multiple different ways of that happening. So
I am simply excited. I am simply looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was not impressed. I enjoyed the trailer. It was a good trailer. It was well constructed. I think the things I do want are
I'm looking forward to seeing more real suits.
That was nice.
Like we got that scene that you pointed out, that like fully black and gold.
The black. It's the.
I think there's gold, but it looks like it's
gold.
A black.
It's gold. It's for whatever purpose they essentially. It's the undersuit from the normal Stark suit, or it's just all the electrical circuits. You can see it in Homecoming like that. It's just for some reason the top layer is not on it.
Yep.
For whatever reason, no, that looked really good, and I'm sure some of that'll change by the time the movie's done. But it looks like there's a little bit more physical costuming, and that's something because the costumes for him are gorgeous. The MCU suits, the Iron Spider one kind of excluded. The rest of them are gorgeous.
Yes.
And then they cover them in CG, and it's like the design's amazing, but it doesn't look cool anymore.
Like remember the first version of Civil War costume? It was literally they had a full suit. And the spider was the original spider from the Ditko spider. And it had, like,
It had raised
texture.
webbing originally.
Yeah, it had raised fucking webbing.
I don't actually like raised webbing, but they did stuff with it, and then they had to, for whatever reason, they chose to do more digital work on it, and that for whatever reason, some parts of it. I think that in terms of the webbing, I think it was probably because the webbing kept like breaking off because of the movement or something like that. But like stuff like that happens, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's more so the Homecoming does it really badly, where like when it's so CG. There are no creases or anything. It literally looks like his body. And that's when it's like, yee.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like CG model on top of a rigged up like CG person. It looks like one unit. And that's where it looks bad. Because there's no wrinkling of the suit. There's no stretching. It's just he just looks colored. Yeah. And it's dumb. Moving on from Spider-Man.
Well, no. I was trying to get you to stop talking about wrinkles. What do you think... If we do get Spider-Man where it's literally only he knows who he is, literally he's the only one, maybe Doctor Strange because he's involved with the spell, but what kind of costume do you think he's going to have?
Good point.
Because like if he's not going to have any Stark connection.
So there's some parts in Far From Home that I think make it messier, but I think him using the Stark technology but making his own suit, I thought personally that was really satisfying for me, of he's showing his engineering skills and his design stuff and him choosing what parts of the suit he needs for what purpose, but using the tools that someone else has provided for him as a mentor. I thought that was really nice and symbolic. And then they played AC/DC and then it went, look guys, he's Iron Man, and I went, please kill me. I don't know. Because I feel like everyone almost across the board is really happy with the Stark suit design. The Stark suit and then the No Way Home suit, the black and red one.
Yep.
Almost everybody loves those for the most part. So Marvel's not going to go back to like, look at this very cloth suit.
Yes.
He might temporarily go back to his like hoodie suit and whatever, or make a new version of that.
So,
but they're going to want to make something CG that they can make easier than having him be in like a dumpy suit.
Yep. So what I think is going to happen is, or first off, I'm going to talk about what I hope happens. I hope that we go from, this probably won't happen, but I hope that we have a black and red Spider-Man. Because I always like black and red, and also the original version of Spider-Man costume, it's black and red. It's not blue and red, and it got confused because the highlighting of certain areas to show the muscle was blue, so it was assumed that he's got blue colors and it's just being shaded by the black, which it was
the other way around.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, and that's something I really liked about the suit in No Way Home, home movies, in Far From Home, was it felt, whether intentional or not, of him kind of growing up, of him being like, less bright colors. We're gonna still bright ass red. I liked that, and I do hope they keep that. I don't know if that was intentional or if I'm reading into it too hard, but I liked that, and I hope they retain that feeling to it.
You drain me sometimes because I'm trying to get into my point and you go and you like say half of my point and it's like, oh my fuck, why am I on this podcast?
Gonna cry?
Because Jacob's probably tied up in someone's sex dungeon right now.
Hopefully he's having a good time.
I do hope so.
You serious?
And so when we go into the second movie where he has, he made the black and red costume, and I was feeling like that shows, we're gonna go into black and red, what you said. He's growing up, and hopefully we'll get into a black and red suit. But I think it'd be nice if we also headed in the Andrew Garfield area, where instead of him having direct access to Stark Industries, he buys stuff. What he buys or scavenge what he can from Stark Industries, like how he did for like how Andrew Garfield did for Oscorp in his movie, where we actually get to see him building his own things. I don't think we see him building his own things. That him making a suit, that does not count. He's not building his own thing. He's using Daddy's program to create his suit.
It gets fabricated for him.
Yes.
I'm with you on that. And that was something I really liked about The Amazing Spider-Man.
Me too. I actually really liked those movies. I thought he was a really good Spider-Man.
I agree on that. I actually really like that first suit. I know it's kind of a meme. It looks like a basketball, but I kind of like it.
I kind of liked it too. I like texture.
I think the orange-yellow lenses were a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think going with silver would have been much better, but Anyways, I do think that would be a cool idea of him like
That was so strange how different they went to the one costume to the other. It was such a strange leap.
It also started the the sneaker soles on the bottom thing,
yeah.
which it makes sense, and that's cool. I do think that's a good idea of not him scavenging tech from whatever, whether it's a Stark company.
I think it should stay with Stark. It'll just be easier.
I feel like they really need to get on to introducing Oscorp because we're all kind of tired of every villain coming from some part of Iron Man, whatever.
Now it needs to be Spider-Man's creating all the villains.
Right. And
guess what? He's Iron Man because he does that. Because Iron Man did that. Ha!
Yes, he takes the place symbolically, but not literally.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Yeah, but I do think that would be cool of him going and I don't know. It's epic suit up sequences. I like that. I like it when they put on the suit, like in Homecoming when he plops the thing on and he hits the button.
Yes, I loved that.
Great, and that's the thing.
I was obsessed with that. People are still making suits like that. There's
so cool.
Robotic Spider-Man or whatever. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what his name is, but he designed a suit like that. Not perfect, but it worked.
And that's the thing with the nano suit. I think I hate the most. Not to rant about it. Only on one thing is it's cool for Iron Man, and it is cool of he has a suit that does that. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. But when it's just I'm going to start doing my Spider-Man pose and then just whoosh, I'm in my suit now. It takes away the effect of when he gets a symbiote, now the symbiote instantly being a suit isn't as cool. Because that was a big deal when it was first introduced. It's I can just use it for whatever. It can be clothes for me or it can be my suit.
Yep.
Now it's he has nanotech that crams him in a suit underneath the net. How does that even work? Don't ask questions. And it's way less visually interesting than him having to do the stinking Superman thing and run off to somewhere to rip his clothes off. It's silly, but they're superheroes. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, moving on. Because you fucking rant.
So with the recent news of James Tynion IV's departure from the Batman title at DC, the fan curiosity as to who will be picking up the title has grown, and we finally have our answer. So via Joshua Williamson's Twitter, Batman 118 in December. I'm writing Batman. All caps. As Batman leaves Gotham, I'm starting a new storyline called Abyss, drawn by the awesome George Molina. Not talking about how this was driving me nuts. Excited to finally share Molina's 118 cover with you. The oval is back, meaning the oval Batman emblem. We're honoring the plan that the other books in the Batline are doing while telling a brand new Batman story for Bruce Wayne as Batman in the DCU. Check out the new villain called Abyss on the Batman 119 cover for January. 118 is their first appearance. More Batman news and info to come as we get closer to the end of Fear State and 118 in December. And I have other big announcements coming that aren't ready yet. The end of 2021 and 2022 are going to be a very busy and wild ride, but for now, a tease. And then at the end, he posts a gif of Bruce Wayne Batman and Damian Wayne Robin in the Batmobile sipping drinks with Batman, Nightwing, and Joker on their screens. I didn't actually expect this pick, but now that I look at it in the bigger picture, it makes way more sense. I'm kind of dumb for not seeing it, to be honest, because I have been keeping up with
you're so dumb. I saw this.
Because I think it was Jacob and I were just it could be this, could be this. Please don't be Jeff Johns, was my point. Was just please don't be Jeff Johns and Brian Michael Bendis. But Joshua Williamson just finished up doing the Robin miniseries. He's writing most of the Urban Legends anthology Batman series. He's the current guy guiding DC on the whole in terms of the titles themselves, not publishing. That's still Jim Lee, but he's guiding the direction. It just made sense. So that's cool. It also means we know how much longer James Tynion has on his run. I'm looking forward to this. The new villain looks really freaking cool. The art looks nice. I don't like the oval emblem, but I'm glad somebody likes it. It's nice. Someone is bringing back a design. I think the only
time I liked the oval emblem was for Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And not year one.
Year zero.
No. Earth One.
It does work well on Earth One. But it hasn't been seen since Batman Incorporated, so it's if they want to do it, they want to do it. That's nice. It's something. It's a nice little.
Sure, have fun. Pop off.
Cool beans.
Pop off, Queen.
Robin, Damien's going back to being Robin with Batman now, so that's cool. They're reconciling. Woo.
I love that GIF that he sent. I mean, I love that drawing.
It's really cute. Is
that from a comic? I can't. Remember.
Don't know.
Because
I didn't look into it.
I think it's too goofy to be like from an actual comic, but I think it
Probably.
maybe an art maybe an artist that did work on the comic made one. Maybe. Anyway, loved it.
It's a cute little GIF. It's nice. It's cool. They're reconciling all the titles together. Very nice. Much happy.
First look at Marvel's Midnight Suns released a new tactical RPG coming to consoles, PC in March 2022. I watched it. I don't give a shit.
I wanted to give a shit. I had no idea this was coming. I really like the Midnight Suns, like the mystical end of the Marvel universe.
I don't know what it is.
You got it's essentially the Defenders, but they're all spooky. So you have like Ghost Rider and Morbius and Blade and Werewolf by Night and like stuff like that. And I like those characters, even though their comics are almost always horrible. And then I saw Iron Man and Captain Marvel, and I went, please stop inserting the popular characters into the other titles for brand recognition. I understand business-wise why they're doing it, but it's like, this kind of defeats the purpose of your B team or your C team. It's like if Batman worked on the Suicide Squad. It's like, this defeats the purpose.
Yes.
And that's kind of obnoxious. Gameplay-wise, I don't really like tactical RPGs, but
I don't give a shit.
I might give it a shot. I do like XCOM, and that's the people that are making it.
Fun,
but
guys.
Yeah, it just that brought my spirits down. The CG trailer looked nice.
Yeah,
I did. The Ghost Rider design looks pretty cool.
Sure.
We have an exclusive from Cinelinx.com. Fans of Journey Smollett's Black Canary will get the chance to see her back in action, as a project is currently being written by none other than Misha Green. According to a pair of sources, WB has decided to make it actually happen, which works out considering HBO passed on a second season of Green's Lovecraft Country, which is a really good show. While one source told me it was a Black Canary, quote, project, which could potentially be a series, another source was adamant the project would become a movie that would likely follow on the events in Birds of Prey. Perhaps this is among the direct-to-HBO Max movies being developed for the service, like Batgirl and Blue Beetle. And there's an update. We're more than happy to say that since the time of this posting, our exclusive has been confirmed by several trade publications corroborating our report, including Variety and Deadline, and both Misha Green and Journey Smollett confirmed it as well via social media. So the hashtag Black Canary HBO Max actually worked. Sorry, I have to
That's
go.
correct.
This is great.
I'm excited.
You know what?
Wrong. I'm accepting. I'm not excited.
You haven't watched Birds of Prey yet, have you?
No. Also,
it's gonna be fun when we get to that.
I kind of don't care, but also like, yeah, give us more DC.
I think something in my gut is telling me that DC is basically going, we'll launch all of our really big stuff, like Batman is going to go to theaters, but I think they're pretty down to just put stuff on HBO Max, because that service is stacked to the gills.
Yes.
And if they give it the lower budget the heroes, essentially, admittedly all characters who deserve to get a theatrical release but probably wouldn't make enough money or whatever, if it enables them to put out more characters that are
in the same universe.
Yeah, if it's A, more content, and B, it's more a diverse palette of characters instead of just Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, then fuck it. It would be cooler if it was in theaters, but if it enables them to do it cheaper and make sure it gets out there and it makes enough money for them by putting it on HBO Max, by all means, just do that. This makes me happy. I was very surprised. I waited like a week before bringing it up because this was announced 2 weeks ago. I wanted to wait until it was corroborated a little bit more because the internet did its thing. It was like, oh my god! Yeah, and then I went, this is a really random website. I'm gonna wait real quick, and then it was corroborated by the major trades, and that was cool.
Yeah.
That is the end of the news for now. Do we want to do main topic? Or...
let's just go into Marvel's what ifs real quick.
Cool. So we have the third episode of What If. I really like this episode.
This one was actually a lot better than I was expecting it to be because I was genuinely like, what the fuck's going on? How is this happening? And I was like, oh, we're gonna go into like the mystic like B team of things, and no, it's not what you expected, or that's not what I expected, because I totally forgot like certain period. I always forget what what movies are technically taking place like literally days after each other.
Yes, that's the thing that I recognized as soon as it put up Monday. I went, hold on, are we doing Fury's Big Week? Because it was like a comic that they did, like a canon comic that, is immediately retconned by the next movie. But like, yeah, the end of Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor all take place within a week of each other, right before the Avengers.
Yes.
Like, heckin' cool. I just liked the formatting of that. Once I recognized it, I went, oh, this is cool. And then they were just like, oh, no, we're going to kill all of them. That's pretty cool. Because that was cool. I liked the fact that the, like, deviant moment wasn't when Tony Stark died, like, what it looks like, where it's like, oh, no, the Avengers start dying. It was, like, way back when Hope Van Dyne died. That was a decent twist.
Yeah.
It was really left field. And when we got to the library scene, I was like, oh, okay, they're not showing the character because it's supposed to be like a POV shot. No, he's really small. 100%. But
yes,
up until that point, that was a good amount of dramatic tension.
Yes.
Of like, how is this happening? And that was kind of cool. Phil, my boy, also actually being voiced by his actor, so that's great. I don't know. I like Phil Coulson. He makes me happy. He gives me a little happy fifis.
Fucking nerd with his Lord of the Rings reference and his password being Steve, I heart Steve, 107 Steve.
Nerd.
What a fucking nerd.
Awesome. There was one really nice reference in it that I don't know if you picked up on. When they're in the desert, and then you have a black dude and a white dude. And the white dude is near a box. And then
what's in the box?
Fury's like, what's in the box?
Yes.
That's a really deep cut. And none of the kids are going to get it.
No, I was like...
They just referenced 7.
They literally just referenced 7.
That was awesome.
It was so strange.
That gave me a little endorphin boost. The ending fight was actually kind of cool. Just Nick Fury being badass for once.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, I like that. Being badass. It's literally like the Boba Fett thing where it's like everyone says he's badass, but like now that we actually see him be badass, it's like, oh yeah, he's badass.
It helps that he's animated too, and you don't have to worry about the fact that Sam Jackson's like kind of old now.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. It's like, no, just make him do like flips and shit.
Yeah.
Heckin' cool.
Yeah.
Big win. I like it.
300. Naked, oily men of the Spartans who kill people. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I've always been told, like, I've never seen this for the viewers. I've never seen this before until today, before the recording, and I've always been told, like, it's great and whatever and blah, 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 but, like, the people I've heard that's great from, it's, like, not really reliable sources for, like, good movies, and now that I've watched it, I'm like, huh. Sparta!
Yeah. So, main topic this week is 300, which is a 2006 American epic historical action film based on the 1998 comic series of the same name by Frank Miller and Lynn Varley. Both are fictionalized retellings of the Battle of Thermopylae in the Persian Wars. The film was directed by Zack Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
Co-written by Zack Snyder, Kurt Johnstad, and Michael B. Gordon, while Frank Miller served as an executive producer and consultant. This is like almost shot-for-shot remake. But I think it's better than the book. I love the book. Jacob and I both really like talking about that a few weeks ago. But like, it works out most of the kinks that are in the book. Most of the like lower, not quite so great elements are made a lot clearer in the movie. Mm-hmm. It's just really good adaptation. Very
comic accurate.
If you're one of those people who cares about those sorts of things because you have no pleasure in life except watching visual mediums be the same thing, go touch grass. Give me some thoughts.
It's hard because I was taking it as a viewer rather than a critic, but it's a fun action movie. There's Booba. Booba's good, but also, it was actually surprisingly like tasteful. You know what I mean? Like, it was used properly.
It was actually used for a narrative purpose rather than just being there and being like mildly exploitative.
Yeah.
Even though it was literally used to be exploitative, but, like, whatever.
Yeah, I think I follow what you're trying to say. But I'll be
Rape is bad. That's what I'm saying. But
yes, very, very bad. There's a lot of slow motion CGI blood. Also, I noticed, it's not, I wouldn't say symbolism, parallel. I noticed parallel. Yes. Them all sleeping when going to, like, sleeping, they're all laying on the ground, and then them, at the very end, dead, lying on the ground with arrows in them. That was good. I really liked that.
It's a very strong visual aesthetic, and I don't... You know when there's always a really good movie, and then it starts a trend that's really annoying? Like, the Bourne movies kicking off, like, quick-paced, flippy action that's, like, uber close-ups and mildly disorienting. Mm-hmm. This kind of started the whole everything's desaturated and, like, overexposed deal.
Yes.
Except this does it phenomenally well.
Yeah, the
color choices are intentional. Right. The color choices are intentional. The lighting's intentional. It's very well produced. And then everything after this is, like, sepia tone or blue. No in between. Unless you're in Mexico, then you always use the sepia color, obviously. Because Mexico is yellow. It's so strange when that happens. When something does something really unique for the time, and then everything tries to co-opt it, and it's always horrible.
Literally everyone's trying to copy it, like how the Titans are trying to copy Twilight.
You're kind of right.
I'm very fucking right. All that fucking blue. Ugh. Like, everyone's trying to copy Twilight.
Hey,
Rise of Skywalker... Titans.
To be fair to Titans, the color grading has gotten a lot better for season 3. It's not amazing, but it's not intentional for sure. It's not clear or guided, but it's not just blue anymore, so I'll give it that. So one of the things that the movie does do a little differently than the book is it actually dives into the mysticism more, whereas in the book they're just the Persians, like... They're not characterized as humans or people. They're just objects to be murdered, obviously.
Wow, what a very Frank Miller way of writing.
A little bit. We'll get into that in a minute. But, like, the movie expands upon it and makes, there's, like, trolls or, like, demons and stuff. And it doesn't state that, like, no, Xerxes is not a god king. Like, he's just a dude. Like, that's very clear. That's, like, the point. But there are still mystical elements, and I genuinely don't really care either way. They're just a little different. Like, the wolf that Leonidas killed when he was a kid is, like, a demon wolf. Mm-hmm. Like, the way it was written in the book is, like, that the voiceover was used the same, but it's, like, how it feels versus what it is. And that's, like, the point of this story is it's propaganda. The whole thing is fake. Like... Sure, the battle happened. Maybe some of it happened, like he's saying. But the point is that it's a story being told to soldiers in both the book and the movie to get them hyped up. It's a legend. It's a myth. It's political propaganda of let's go demonize the other people who do the same stuff we do, but we do it okay, and let's go kill them. And, like, that's the point. Is the book is... really straightforward, and I think the movie makes it more clear this is supposed to be satire in one extent or another. So part of the written review I had for this was Zack Snyder understands how to use fascistic visuals and emotions to make clear what Frank Miller tried in 1998, satirizing the pompous insanity of fascism while empathizing with the people under its influence and understanding how they've been propagandized. Like, these people are fucking insane. Their culture is absolutely bonkers. It's not acceptable. They do the same shit that they tell off other people for. And there was a quote from Frank Miller when he was writing the book of, how can I make you continue, how far can I make the Spartans pieces of shit before you stop rooting for them? And I think that he did that really well in the book. But, like, how many bad things can they do and how many horrible cultural customs can they have before you stop rooting for them and then pull back, like, 5 degrees? Like, just that little bit of, like...
That's what Frank did in the book?
Yeah, and then
that's not shown in the movie at all.
Yeah, it is. This is Spencer in Post. I just wanted to give an audible shout-out to Gwendolyn Jae Stone on YouTube, or Gwen Loves Movies on Twitter, for a video essay that she did, The People v. Snyder, Part 1, A Case of Fascistic Art. The first part in a 4-part series. The latter 3 parts are at time of recording, not yet released, which covers this topic in a lot greater depth.
not entirely focused upon 300, but it is a large chunk of this essay, and I just wanted to give some more direct credit than I did during the original podcast recording, as a lot of these conversations were pulled from my newly acquired knowledge after listening to this essay, as well as some normal research I had done on my own and my own interpretation of the text. So just wanted to give a shout out, and this essay will be linked in the video description on YouTube for anyone who is interested. Absolutely excellent work.
Like with what?
They beat their children, for one. They send off their children to be warriors their entire lives. Their women are property. They're potentially better than other cultures, but their women are still not respected. They're treated like property. It's a literal fascist society. It fits like all the categories. It's just shown in a light of the people who live there and the parts of it that you get attached to as a human. Of like, yes, I want to protect my family. I think what I'm doing is right. I have been told generations through generations that dying for country and glory...
Wow, I got tricked real good in this movie. I did not read into anything. I was just watching it as face value, and I got tricked real good. Because I was like, oh shit, wait, they did do that.
Yeah, it's like, no...
Because I thought it was like greater good type of thing, you know what I mean? In my brain... As a person, I feel like anyone's like, yeah, greater good. Immediately, it's like, yeah, of course, until you actually are a part of it or you see it.
And that's the point. Is like, and that's why there was like some real life like, wait a minute, people are taking this movie the wrong way. Like
how people take The Punisher the wrong way.
Correct. Except it was even worse because this was came out right after we started invading the Middle East. And it quoted by the filmmaker, had nothing to do with it, like, directly. He was like, no, this wasn't made to be, like, parallels. If you read into it, that's fine, but, like, this is just me adapting the book.
It's just art.
But the book is, like, yeah, we, like, demonize the shit out of brown people, and we make them, like, literal demons in our heads or whatever, and then we go kill them.
Yep.
On their own land. Like, why? Like, all that sort of stuff. It's very complicated processes, but how does it feel to be a person in a society like that of, like, well, of course you love your family and your homeland to one extent or another. Like, it's literally portrayed. Like, look at Sparta. It's always glowing. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful fields of grain, and it's orange and bright, and everything else is dark and blue and and whatever. And it's the same thing with how the people are portrayed. It's like, and then the people that are bad, which the Persians at that time were bad, yes, but so were the Spartans. Like,
so was everyone on Earth.
Yes. They were a bunch of societies that were very similar, fighting over what they thought were major differences, when they're almost the same things. Of like, they're all portrayed as like really either really demonic, weird people, or they're literal magicians, they're sorcerers, they're wizards.
Yeah, they called them, they went to magic when literally they were just using explosives.
They're literally just using bombs. Yeah, like, and their leader is portrayed as this, like, really effeminate, definitely was intended to be a very homophobic stereotype.
Yes.
And so are the people around him. Like, it's like, how do we not portray you as people? And that's the point, is the whole thing is a story being told by Dilios to the Spartans before another battle, because he was there for like some of it, and the rest of it's him just spitballing shit. Yep. And it's such a so cool. I like stuff like this, where it's like, if you just want to watch it on face value, it's cool, they kill people, it's fun, but if you want to look into it, there's so much to it. Very, very cool stuff. There's one shot I have to rant about.
Okay, make it quick.
I mean, it was pretty quick. But, like, when, at the end of the movie, in the end of the climax, when Leonidas is down, he's quote-unquote given up, you know, he has a plan, whatever.
Yep.
And the shot of him throwing the spear up the stairs.
It was climbing the stairs.
It was climbing the stairway to heaven to remove the God King from his pedestal.
I liked that a lot.
That's not... It happened in the book, but it wasn't quite as iconographic. It happened, and it's the same point, but, like, it looks so cool, and then it's like, I get it! This is really clumsy. Like, there's nothing wrong with clumsy storytelling, or, like, really clear and blatant symbolism. It's cool. It's like, no, like, the God King will bleed. He's not a god, he's just a dude. He's a dude who literally paints on his eyebrows.
It's literally rule of cool.
Yes. Rule of cool is the way to do all of life.
Yes.
Yes. Just that shot it always sticks with me. You have any more thoughts?
I'm glad the queen killed the cuck man.
That was great.
And she repeated back to him.
That was a great moment. And that's something that's expanded on from the book. In the book, the queen is just there. And that's something that I think the movie does is it shows Leonidas consulting his queen a little bit, but this is not a society that is anywhere near egalitarian at all. Mm-hmm. It just happens to be Leonidas is kind of like that. It's shown from the perspective of being oh, of course, well, yeah, he's going to check with his wife before he starts a war and yeets a dude into a hole. Mm-hmm. And it gives her agency. There's that small B plot of her doing stuff, and it's just really good. I like that. It doesn't take away the tension from the main plot. It also breaks up the continuous slow motion action of being we have mild political intrigue.
We do need some political intrigue within the actions of warrior men.
Exactly. And then it's a really good subplot. And then the fact that she just, it's such a good moment when they're in the council. You literally cheered. That doesn't happen.
I was like, yeah, fuck him up!
Yeah, when the initial happened, you were like, wait, what? What's going on? What is it? Why? No! And then
I was furious.
And then the movie just moves on. And then I was like, hold on. And then, it comes back to that. And then you literally were cheering. You don't do that. Usually when you watch movies, you're really, really quiet, which is fine. You're just kind of there. And then I've never seen you do that.
When shit like that happens, where it's so when it comes to abuse of people and certain ways of that, where she's she used it to her advantage to exploit him.
Yeah.
So I guess it was useful, but I was still pissed off about it because stuff like that makes me very angry as a person.
I liked the fact that it wasn't, at first you're yeah, she stabbed him, and then it's hold on. She didn't stab him. She cut the freaking coin sack off of him, and that was really cool. Wait, you didn't see that? She exposed him as a...
But he fell on the ground.
Yes, because she also punched him at the same time.
Oh, that's true.
There was no blood, unless I'm really blind.
I think she stabbed him because he literally had a face of "you stabbed me."
Maybe, I don't know, but it was she's this is not gonna. You're not gonna enjoy this. It's not gonna end quickly, and I feel that's more supposed to be him.
Or, I'm sorry, you go and then.
Yeah, it's cutting the coin purse that drops out of his tunic, and it has Xerxes' face on it, and then it exposes him to the council, and she just walks off like a total badass.
Or you know what she did? She cut the bag, grabbed his nuts, and squeezed his nuts to it popped. That's why he fell. That's canon in my head. Is that she cut the bag and popped his nuts.
Oh, thank you for that image, Colin.
Because that's what he deserves.
Yes.
And his dick ripped off and shoved into his mouth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Only other thing I have is this is the only role I've ever liked Gerard Butler in. I've never really liked him. I don't like when older guys continue to play action roles trying to play people 20 years younger than them. It kind of bothers me. And I have nothing personally against Gerard Butler. I know nothing about him on his personal life. I don't care. But he's just always that dude who just shows up in really shitty action movies because he just likes being old and grizzled and doing action movies. But this role was perfect. His performance is absolutely killer.
Who's this guy?
Leonidas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about him or the dude that was giving the narrative.
No, I was talking about the main
Leonidas,
role.
Yep.
I've never really liked him in anything else.
I don't know him in anything else.
It's really good though. Charisma.
Very good.
Just enough. Very stoic, but just enough emotion where you're I'm kind of attached to this person.
Yes.
But oh, look at that man. You know?
Man, he's a real man.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
Movie. Good meme. Much stonks.
Good Sparta.
Yes. No, Sparta bad.
Well, yes, but good Sparta.
Sure. What have you been up to? Anything?
Honestly, I have been watching Fullmetal Alchemist, but I don't want to just talk about. I want to finish Full Metal Alchemist before I give like a full review. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Rather than doing like halves and then not talking about it forever. Honestly, I haven't. I'll pause there so you can cut. Honestly, I haven't really been watching or reading anything. I've just been working on my own stuff.
Nice.
So just throw me questions.
Let me root around in my nutsack and pull out a question.
2,000 years later.
What is your favorite Studio Ghibli movie?
Oh, that's hard. You give me a fucking hard one, cause
Is there a Studio Ghibli movie you don't like?
That's so far not true at all. My least favorite is My Neighbor Totoro.
What?
Yeah.
How? That's like everyone's favorite.
It's just not the most engaging one, and it's not a type of plot that like I care for. It's just a happy movie.
I suppose.
It's just a happy movie, and so that's hard because my favorites are Howl's Moving Castle, because that's what indoctrinated me into Studio Ghibli.
Nice.
Howl's Moving Castle, Porco Rosso, and Nazca and the Valley of the Wind, and then there's Up on Poppy Hill. So to pick out of those, it's hard because they're all very different ones. Honorable mention, Spirited Away, but it's just it didn't give me that I want to watch this again. So out of all those, I think the one that I really like to watch over and over and over again is, I can't pick one. I'm going to pick two. I'm going to give you two.
Okay, give it to me.
Porco Rosso and Howl's Moving Castle. I have to say that because I have the art book of Howl's Moving Castle on my bookshelf, and I love Porco Rosso for the fact of it's like this bounty hunter dude that's like has fucking planes. They're planes. Those are so cool. I love those small planes. And like the water, they're like water planes too. It's just so good. And Howl's Moving Castle is just so mystical, and it has all these like demons and warlocks, and this house has like a magical doorway to like set to like 3 to 4 different places for him to go to jump between different towns and stuff.
Moving Castle also happens to be my favorite. I do very much so look forward to discussing that one.
That's going to be so much fun.
Very fun. I think that's going to be a good introduction for Jacob to Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
I think genre-wise it's up his alley.
Yep.
Nice.
What have you been doing?
So, okay, I'm gonna bite the bullet. Okay, so I read one of my new favorite books, which is The Omega Men, The End Is Here, or just The Omega Men.
You sent a little tidbit in the group chat.
I sent a few little tidbits about it. So I had to read it twice. So it is a 12-issue miniseries published in 2015. So it was written by Tom King, and it was penciled by Barnaby Bagenda, who's never worked on anything from the major publishers before, so that was cool. It is a very obscure team of characters from way deep into DC's history, and then they slap a Green Lantern on it, essentially. But, like,
that's all you need.
True. But it's my favorite Kyle Rayner. But it has almost nothing to do with him as a Green Lantern, like, at all. It's relevant, and it comes up later, but, like, he doesn't use any of his powers or his ring until, like, the 5th issue. Basically, there's a lot... This is a really dense thing, so I'm trying really hard to condense it. Yes, it's dense, and I'm trying to make it more dense. It's insane. There's so much stuff here. Like, there's a whole ass universe. It takes place in, like, its own, like, galaxy, essentially, like its own couple of solar systems. Essentially, there are a bunch of different warring factions and governments and planets in the same solar system and, like, area. And there's this essentially mega corporation that is interlinked with the government a little... They're entwined with the government a little too much, and they have essentially control over basically whatever they want.
Nice. We like that.
Yeah, we're already getting into real world stuff here. It is a very real world book.
Listen up, y'all. You've had regular capitalism and all the wealth just goes to the corporations. These fat cats just sit up there in their big old desk. They don't do shit, okay? I'm selling you super capitalism. Super capitalism is so invested in private enterprise that every single individual actually collectively owns a portion of the workplace they work at. You're a McDonald's fry chef, man. That's your part of your business, son. That's you now. Super capitalism. In addition, I am so in favor of market incentives and market forces that I reject the private ownership of any industry which interferes with the function of those market forces. Transportation, healthcare, these are inelastic markets, dumb fuck. Super capitalism.
And it's essentially about how different political factions fight against each other, and the fact that everyone, it sounds like an enlightened centrist take of like everyone is evil and everyone's equally fucked up, which isn't true, but it does get to the point of like all causes do have bad parts to them. So this is it kind of reference is required. Tom King worked for the CIA for a while. I don't remember what his specific role was. I don't think he was a field agent, but he worked for the CIA a while ago. So he has a lot of opinions on foreign affairs. He knows how these things end up actually working out fairly well, and that impacts how we view stuff. So Kyle Rayner is the White Lantern. He's the Lantern God, basically. He gets kidnapped by the Omega Men, who are known as a terrorist organization. Big quotations on that one. They're labeled that by the media and whatever. They kidnap him, kill him on air, and don't actually kill him. They essentially recruit him through the long game. They kidnap him. They do put a bomb in his neck, so he can't leave. And they show him through various different political conflicts why this corporation is really fucked up and why X, Y, and Z governments are inherently bad and do need to be destroyed. They're essentially trying to recruit him, not voluntarily, but not super involuntary. They're trying to convince him, but they're forcing him to sit through their speech,
That's very terrorist-like.
Yes and no. It fits some of the definitions, and then when you put it in the bigger picture, they are essentially doing the utilitarian sort of ends justify the means stuff. And it ends up becoming, by the time the political conflict is over, skimming over a bajillion things, he works with them by the end. He agrees with most of what they do, and they fight side by side. They take down some people, but he doesn't want to kill the leader of the company, essentially, who's been extracting resources from planets and essentially dooming them to die. Like, cool plot point is the fact that Krypton could have been saved by one of the elements, essentially, that they harvest from these planets. Like, it keeps planets from, like, imploding on themselves. It's that important, and they sell it to the highest bidder instead of to the planets that need it. Yeah. Lots of politics. Wow. So he ends up agreeing with them, they capture him, and then he's like, hey, no, we're not going to kill him, we're going to be better than them. And then someone in the group ends up doing things, and they split off and whatever. And point being is when Kyle goes back to Earth to resume his normal Lantern duties and stuff, he has absorbed parts of their ideals, and he's trying to use them better, and it shows that those people in that organization have... Some of them have fallen off the map. Some of them have become dictators in their own rights or whatever. And the fact that essentially politics is really messy, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a right and wrong. It just means that there's a lot of... There is good and evil, and there is evil and good, but that doesn't mean that good and evil don't exist. Which, I don't know, it's really cool. It's stupidly dense. The fact that I'm being so vague is because if I get into any of the details, it's so much. This is... Think, like, take Star Trek, but take, like, 5 seasons of it and then smush it into a movie. It's so dense. There's so much storytelling going on, so much information, a lot of exposition, but I do think the character work is phenomenal. I literally had to read it twice to understand everything. And you can be either here nor there if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think Jacob would like this in terms of he might not agree with everything politics-wise or whatever that I do, but the point of Jacob likes Star Trek. We agree on that. We like political sci-fi, essentially. Like, we like that sort of stuff. It's very...
That's so funny for a guy who always says, keep your politics out of my comic books, out of my movies.
It's entertaining. But, like, for Star Trek, it's inherent to, like, the medium. Like, Star Trek is political. Star Trek is politics. It's literally...
Politics.
It's literally space explorers going to different cultures and planets and doing communism. But there's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah. Like, that's the point. And it's like, it feels like that, but it has a little bit of a Game of Thrones and like a Star Wars flair to it. There's a lot of good action. There's really cool designs. There's lots of species. It is pretty quick paced. There's just so much of it. There's spaceships and explosions and stuff. Yeah. But it's dense and thoughtful. Big stonks. I like it. But it took me a while to read. It's a good sized book, and then I had to read it twice over to totally grasp it. So it was,
understandable.
Not a lot happens in the first few issues, so it took me a little bit to get into it. But once it hooked me, oh my goodness. So I like it. And because I took that one and kind of extended it, I have to ask you another question.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it. Sure. And I definitely had one, and I was excited to ask you, and then I forgot what it was. So hold on.
Okay.
So I had a really good question that I thought of when I asked you the first question, and then I forgot it. Bruh. To go back to Batman, because of course.
Of course, we always resort back to Batman.
For you, what is the ultimate end of Batman? For you, if you had a definitive version of Batman, whether not something that's already been done, or maybe something that's been done, whether it's a movie, show, whatever, the comics, how does Batman end? What do you think is the definitive way for the future to take place? Who is Batman? Has Bruce Wayne died? What's going on?
I think definitively Batman Beyond. Like, that's not even ending Batman, but so the sentence, what is the end of Batman? I don't think there should be, because I like the ideal. Maybe this was before. This already happened before these movies came out, but I like to stand by the ideal that Christopher Nolan's movies came with was Batman was an idea, and he was a symbol,
right? Not
one single person,
right?
Which was an idea in beforehand, but in the way that they brought it out, it stuck with me, and so I think the idea of Batman stays forever, and Terry McGinnis becomes Batman, or Damian Wayne becomes Batman, and then Terry McGinnis becomes Batman, something like that. Or maybe you have to have one or the other, can't have both.
Yeah, you probably can't have both.
But if I would have to choose, Terry McGinnis all the way.
I realized that as soon as I said it, I was like, I already know his answer. That was a dumb question.
Fuck Damian. Literally Terry McGinnis. But definitive Batman, Bruce Wayne has to die. And I don't think he should die. Maybe dying of old age would be funny, because you expect him to die of something, but he just dies from being fucking old. Fucking old ass bitch. But I would have loved to see Batman die in a heroic fashion, or maybe a poetic fashion, some symbolism, parallel, what have you, with some purpose.
What if some random dude just comes up and blasts him in the head like his parents?
I would hate that, actually.
Nice.
It would make sense, but I would hate that. That's the one thing I don't want. I do know what I don't want to happen. I don't want to happen to Bruce. I don't want that to happen to Bruce.
Fair enough. That's all I had. I'm still very annoyed I can't remember my original question. But that is pretty much all that we have for today. Hopefully we will be joined by Jacob next week. Hopefully we'll hear from him sometime soon.
Maybe I'll get a follow-up on that address.
Maybe he was taken to a secondary address. And a fun fact, once you've gone to a secondary location during a kidnapping, the odds of you being found again are astronomically low. First location is 75% chance nobody will find you. Second location is 95% chance you will not be found. So, if you get kidnapped, yeet yourself out of that car. The fact that you might die on impact or whatever is a better chance than you going to whatever location they're bringing you to. just random kidnapping.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Dime Comic Bros podcast. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do interaction. Throw a question out. Who's your favorite Spartan? Which Spartan's got the biggest bulge? I don't know. They've all got abs and bulges, so I don't know.
Comic accurate.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for content. We will feed you content. Next week, we will be discussing Superman Year One, which is a graphic novel written by Frank Miller in the same universe as The Dark Knight Returns. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
Get ready for Dickhead Superman.
A little bit. So definitely tune in for that. Shout out to our patrons over on patreon.com/dimecomicbros. Wesley, nerd. Jeff, nerd.
Business casual.
Dweeb.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah.
I saw you.
Thanks for the money, guys. That's pretty heckin' cool. If you want to support us, feel free to go over to the Patreon. We have a couple of different tiers, different rewards. Stickers, you get your name shouted out, and so on. Also, you know how Patreon works. Everyone knows how Patreon works. If you don't, you're probably not listening to a podcast. Let's be honest. And a big ol' shout out to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in Rochester, New Hampshire. They're cool. They like us. That's weird. We
like them.
We do. That's not weird. They're pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They got some talented people over there. I got to see Devin perform again last night. That was cool.
Nice.
Absolute stellar duderino, as they all are. The dudes and the dudettes and the people. I don't think there's a gender neutral dude, even though dude is kind of gender neutral. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
dude
like
is usually gender neutral, but like
I literally call anyone dude.
I usually call everyone dude, but if you're gonna do dude, like I did, I kept moving, and then I went duderinos, or dudettes, or whatever. I don't know. Dude, peoples, lots of people. All the people over there are heckin' cool. Give them money.
Our non-binary burritos.
Not bad. Burritos are pretty cool. Cock and ball?
Cock and ball torture. Just like the Spartans.
Not I think.
Play Minecraft, and our goal is to defeat the Ender Dragon.
Stay up all night. You mean pass out at 2:30 because we're both old.
I sneezed!
They're like burritos. Very tasty. Your mom! That was really gay.
That sounds like a you problem.
Shut up! And next week we will be... What?
Keep going. I almost shit myself. I have to poop.
At least I didn't throw you off of a cliff.
At least you didn't kick me off a cliff. There's a lot of throwing off. There's a lot of dying off cliffs in this movie.
You know what else there's a lot of?
Yeah.
Slow motion.